When Alison Page was elected mayor of River Falls earlier this year, she didn't allow herself much time to celebrate. Instead, she immediately hit the books to study municipal laws as she prepared to take office. When she did so in April of 2026, Mayor Page became just the second female mayor in River Falls' history, with the first being her older sister Katie. On this episode of the Kinni Cast, Mayor Page talks about being born and raised in River Falls, discusses what drew her to a career in healthcare, and shares more about what she envisions for her time as the mayor of her hometown. Hi everybody, welcome back to a new episode of the Kinni Cast. My name is Tyler Mason, I'm the communications coordinator, and I'm excited to be joined today by the new mayor of River Falls, Alison Page. She's been in the job about a month or so now. We're excited to have her on the podcast today. Mayor, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Tyler?
Doing well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I'm excited
Absolutely.
to have you on. Yeah. Let's start with your background a little bit. We'll get into some of the kind of things that you're thinking about as mayor, but let's start with you. You were born and raised right here in River Falls. We were just talking a little bit about some of the things from when you were growing up, but what was it like for you growing up here in River Falls?
It was absolutely terrific. River Falls is a wonderful town. My parents arrived here in the early 50s. My dad was a new young family physician in town, took the place of one of the older guys who moved to Montana to go duck hunting. And I'm sixth of 9 children in a big Catholic family.
Okay.
And in fact, our family once won the prize over River Falls Days. They used to give a prize for the biggest family in town. And our family won biggest family in town one year, and my parents were very proud of that.
What's the prize for that? Anything?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just the honor of
You had
it.
your photo in the paper,
Sure.
and I have that photo hanging on the wall in my home now. And so that was kind of fun, being in a big family.
Yeah.
It was great. River Falls, great town. One of the things that I loved the best about it was everybody seemed to know who you were, knew who you were and cared about you,
Sure.
and watched out for you.
Yeah.
So it was like having many, many parents because people just looked after each other.
Yeah. Growing up, did you think you would end up here for most of your life, or what was kind of your thought? Maybe you didn't think about it as a kid, I guess.
I didn't really think about it as a kid, but when I grew up and got married, I married a guy from town here, David Page, whose dad was the athletic director at the college for a long, long time. And he and I thought about moving. We were going to move out west and live off the land.
Okay.
And then we decided, jeepers, maybe it would be nice to raise our kids near their grandparents.
Sure.
And River Falls is such a great town that if you look across the country and you're looking for a great place to live, why wouldn't you pick River Falls?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we decided to come back here, and we plan on staying here forever.
Nice. Well, let's talk about your career a little bit. You spent your career in healthcare. We were talking a little bit about some of that before we started here. You were over a decade as a CEO of Western Wisconsin Health before you retired. Can you maybe share a little bit about your professional background and what you enjoyed most about the healthcare world?
You bet. Well, I got started early in healthcare because, like I said, my dad was a doctor, family doctor. So he took care of all kinds of people from nursing homes. He delivered babies. He did surgery. And from when I was a young kid, I used to tag along with him, go to the nursing home, meet some of the people who lived there. And then by the time I was in high school, I was, helping him hold retractors in the OR when he was doing surgery and a nurse's aide at the hospital. I was a candy striper back in the day when they had candy stripers. Okay. And then went off to school and entered the world of healthcare. I got my bachelor's degree in nursing, worked as a nurse for a while, and then decided I really, really loved the operations of healthcare organizations and wanted to have more influence in healthcare. Influencing healthcare really to make sure it was focused on the patients and being very patient-centered. Sure. So I went back to school, got a master's degree in healthcare administration, went from there to working for one of the big systems in the Twin Cities. And there I was head of operations for the Red Wing facility and then the chief safety officer for the system. And then in 2008, 2009, I ventured on out and ended up being the CEO at Western Wisconsin Health. So I've had a lot of different experiences. I've worked from the bedside to the boardroom. Sure. And had all kinds of great experiences in healthcare. But one of the things you do in healthcare administration is, you wouldn't think this. You would think, everybody, doctors, nurses, people working in healthcare, that they all agree all the time. Well, that's not the case. And so whether you were I was managing a merger in Red Wing, creating a new Office of Patient Safety at Fairview Corporate, or over in Baldwin at Western Wisconsin Health, was really an organizational turnaround project, helping that organization create its future. But when you're doing that, you're bringing people together who don't always agree.
Sure.
And so that's really what I say I do, is bring people together and help them create the future.
Sounds kind of like the role of a mayor, maybe.
I think it could be.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I'm curious what inspired you to run for mayor this past spring. You did run and obviously won, but what kind of inspired you to throw your hat in the ring?
Well, I love this town like many people. I'm sure everyone who has ever served as mayor of this community has done so because they love the community and they want good things for our community. And I would say that's the same reason that I've run. One of the things I noticed, I served on the Board of Education in all at different time frames. I've served in total 20 years on the Board of Education. One of the things I've noticed recently is that we have an opportunity as a community for more and better collaboration in our community. Sure. So the city is very well run, very well managed. The school district, very, very well run. But we have, if you think about the cornerstones of our community, we've got the city proper, city administration, schools, all levels, K-12, tech schools, university. We've got our business community. Right. We've got our agricultural community, and we have our spiritual community. So all these different cornerstones of our community, I see an opportunity for us to do more together, to collaborate, and in particular, well, to collaborate for a couple of reasons. One is to identify the issues that are bigger than all of us and work together to resolve those issues. And the other is to collaborate to really envision and plan our future. Who do we want to be? Sure. Who do we want to be, and what do we want to be as a community? Yeah. What do we want our brand to be as a community? So that requires collaboration inside the community, the city of River Falls, but I would say also collaboration and working relationships between the city of River Falls and the surrounding towns. Because whether you live inside the city proper or you live in one of the towns, this is your community. Right. And so how do we work together? My goal is to build relationships and bring people together to envision the future of our community. Yeah, very nice. I'm curious what the election process and when you won, I mean, what was your thoughts and what was your reaction? I'm sure you're pretty excited, but what was that like for you? When I won? Yeah. Okay. So the night that I won, I literally stayed up all night reading in bed and reading all the state laws that relate to municipalities. So you were getting to work right away. I have a lot to learn. I had a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn. It's a steep learning curve, and I'm grateful for everyone who's leaning in to help me gain the knowledge. And fortunately, we have a lot of prior mayors who are still with us. Yeah. I can tap on their shoulders anytime I need to. Sure. When you did win, you became just the second female mayor in the history of River Falls, and the first was your sister, Katie Chaffee, who was elected mayor in 2000. I'm curious what that was like for your family back then when she won, and what did you learn from watching her in that role? Yeah, well, Katie was a force. Anybody who knew Katie knew that she was a force. Didn't always agree with her, but she was a force. So when Katie became mayor of River Falls, I believe I was president of the school board. Ann Leidecker was the chancellor at UW River Falls, and Sarah Noonan was the superintendent of schools in River Falls. So there was a lot of women in leadership positions in that time frame, 2000, 2002. Yeah. In my family, our parents, when we were growing up, our parents were doers, and I don't think we were unique. You know, my mom and dad were born in 1925. They were children of the Depression. They came into adulthood as post-World War II, just as World War II was getting over. And that generation, those people, and just like many of my parents' friends here in River Falls, were very focused on building great communities, building and creating. And they did a great job. They did a great job. I could not have had a better childhood and a better life in what I had in River Falls, Wisconsin. So they were doers. I would say they were doers. They weren't unique necessarily, but they were doers. I remember my dad saying, you know, when you see something that's wrong or you see something that's needing to be done, you are, it's not your prerogative to sit back. You need to lean in and you need to do. Sure. So we were raised to be doers. And Katie was a doer. Yeah. And I like to think I'm a doer. So she was a great role model. And you know how it is when you're growing up. If your parents did it, you think you can too.
Right.
And your older siblings, I'm 6 of 9. If one of your older siblings did something, you're like, oh yeah, well, she did it, I could do it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Sure.
There's that no fear
Right.
of just lean in, do it. I've run for office many times, as you might know. I've run for state office 3 times, and you don't always win, but you lean in and look for where can I help.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that running for state office. How did that prepare you maybe for running for mayor? Or is it totally different in that circumstance?
Well, there seems to be a hesitancy on the part of some people, and I understand it, of putting your name on a ballot.
Yeah.
There's that risk.
It's a little scary. Yeah.
Yeah, you put, and as I tell my kids, rejection isn't fun.
Right.
It doesn't matter what form it comes in. Losing is not fun. But if you see yourself as a part of the greater democratic process, in the democratic process, we want good, well-intended, capable people to run for office.
Yeah.
And anybody who thinks they have the skills and they have the energy and they have the will to lean in and do a good job running for something, they should get their names on the ballot and do it, and they shouldn't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
So it's fun. But running for state office is more intense.
I bet, yeah.
Campaigning for mayor.
A little more daunting. Yeah.
We're pretty low key. Dan and I had a little conversation at the beginning of this race, and I said, I'm not going to go over, if you run for mayor, there's a spending limit.
Sure.
And if you exceed that spending limit, you have to go through the process of opening up a committee in Madison at the state level. I had those kinds of committees opened when I ran for state office, and I prefer not to open them for mayor. So kept spending to a bare minimum.
Yeah.
And people probably noticed around town, I recycled some old signs that were in my garage, but might as well, right?
Yeah.
Use those things, keep it pretty low key. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the way it should be. We should just vote for people. And sometimes when you get the powerhouse of the politics of the parties get into play, I'm sure they're well-intended, but sometimes that escalates things to a level that isn't fun. Isn't fun. So we kept it nice, and we can't control what other people do or other organizations do in terms of the races, but I think it was very civil.
Yeah. Well, now that you're in this role, and like you said, you kind of hit the ground running on that first night and trying to learn as much as you can. When you look at what maybe some of the most exciting opportunities are in River Falls, how do those match what your vision is for the role of mayor?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, River Falls is very well run. And so I look at it as taking very good to great. How do we move? And how do we move River Falls forward in a way that we can protect the elements of the life we love here and plan thoughtfully for future generations?
Sure.
What does that look like? Like I said, who and what are we going to be? What's our brand?
Yeah.
What's our brand? And how do we create that?
Yeah.
How do we create that?
Sure. I mean, have we started thinking about that already, and how we go about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It starts with building relationships.
Sure.
And tapping into people's dreams and what they imagine for the future, and then bringing that together, and then you create it.
Yeah. Well, can you maybe share some of the other priorities or areas of focus that you plan to address as mayor, or things you've been thinking about or maybe already working on?
First and foremost, building those relationships inside the community with all those key stakeholder groups, businesses, schools, including the university, the tech schools, and spiritual community, agricultural community, building those relationships within the community, between the city and the surrounding towns. So I start with relationships, and it's through those relationships and those conversations that you identify key priorities. So some that I bring with me that I would love to see as a part of the future of River Falls would be really building a place where we can say we're a community that supports the well-being of the people who call River Falls home. A place where people feel like they belong.
Sure.
That would be the end game, the goal. But what's a part of that? I'm very interested. I come out of the healthcare realm, very interested in health and well-being of individuals, but also the health and well-being of a community. And what does that look like? To have a really healthy, strong, sustainable community. And when I say sustainability, I don't mean that we don't have pollutants in our drinking water alone. When I think about sustainability, I think about a triangle with 3 corners. One corner is environmental sustainability. Another corner is economic sustainability.
Sure.
How do we build and maintain a thriving economy? And the third corner is social sustainability. So we all, have a pretty good grip on ecological sustainability. We just had Earth Fest, was fabulous, and we
You get to speak on stage at that. Yeah, first week I think on the job.
We had, we're building a great understanding of that. But economic sustainability can be a little trickier. The times I've run for state office, I've knocked on thousands and thousands of doors in over the past time. And one of the things I've heard over and over again is people really want to work closer to home. They would love to have good jobs closer to home. Well, how do you get good jobs? You get good jobs because you bring in good businesses. And good businesses are businesses that are community partners, businesses that respect people, respect the employees, respect our environment. And really partner with the community to build the future. So how do we build that strong and sustainable economy? And then on the social, how do we build a strong social environment for our community? Well, that's all about our institutions, our schools, our churches. How do we build strong spiritual communities in our town of all varieties, and really create many places where people feel a sense of belonging with the community. So that would be and that's what I have in my head.
Sure.
That triangle of how do we build that. But you get that by really tapping into the dreams of other people.
Yeah, I like that. Well, last question here, and this is one that everyone on the podcast gets asked, is what impact do you hope that your work will have on the people of River Falls?
I hope that I can build just that strong sense of community and that strong sense of belonging. That people feel like, I just love it here because I feel like I belong.
Sure. That's a great place to wrap it up. Mayor Alison Page, thanks so much for joining the Kinni Cast today. And I know it's been probably a whirlwind first month for you, but we added a podcast to your list, and I appreciate you taking the time to do it today.
Happy to. Thanks for having me, Tyler. And I can't tell you how grateful to the people in this community I am for this opportunity, and I will work hard to deliver.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks to Mayor Alison Page for joining us on the Kinni Cast today. If you don't already subscribe to the podcast, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or at rfcity.org. And be sure to share this with your friends. Let them hear a little bit from our new mayor, Mayor Alison Page. Once again, thanks for tuning in today. Until next time, have a great day, River Falls.